am very excited for season 4 of Rock the Block. I enjoy the show. We watch HGTV all the time at home, so
Well,
very happy to see it back.
this is a big, big season. Look, I don't know how they do it, but I think, as you know, if you've been watching every season, it seems to get bigger and better every season. And I'm stunned because like this is I don't know what I was expecting. Like the minute I was asked to host and then I found out it was Colorado, I went, oh, that's good. But I was stunned at just how strong these designs are. These teams like really they really surprised me because I know they're good, but I think, when it's it's like boxing. When you find out like you're in your own weight class, that's one thing. But when you bring in a heavyweight, you're like, you're going to be going against these top notch, like you have to come up a whole nother level. And all these teams did. It's really amazing. I mean, right off the get go, the first episode, you just realize, I mean, it's the kitchen. So like, you're immediately like, wow. I'm like, I'm not easily wowed. I've been doing this a while. And,
Right? 20
but
something years.
yeah. And so, but these kitchens are stunners, every single one of them. And what's great about it is you immediately realize, oh damn, this is going to be an interesting season because the flavors, like there's just a lot of variety. Like there's clean and simple. There's a little bit of country and a little bit of, folk, if you will. There's really luxury and plus, and then there's also sexy and sultry. So there's like a lot of things to just like eye candy everywhere, and you're like, damn. But a lot of work went into it. And these guys were dead tired, so I'm super proud of the teams. Like, I didn't expect that much out of them. I didn't realize that Jonathan could not only rock it on the stage, but he really can rock it on the block. Like,
Yep.
no joke. Like he really worked his ass off. Like I'm impressed.
To say I'm a Boston boy myself, so just
Oh,
seeing how
yeah.
his career trajectory, it's been so
Yeah,
interesting to watch.
yeah, yeah. He's a
But
good dude.
and this season, it's 4 luxurious homes. Like the bones are already incredible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, 5,000 square feet each, the renovation budget of $250,000. Just, can you believe how far home renovation shows have come since you first started doing them? I mean, obviously, very different budgets back in the day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, look, Trading Spaces, like we were doing a room for $1,000, and
Yeah.
like, and to be honest with you, like I still think I look at it like the Beatles playing, in Germany and like these like really dive clubs. You
Yeah.
learn your trade when like you take all the you take the extras out from under somebody that pull the rug out. But I think that's also what happens when you take these designers and these artists and you throw them into a space that they've never walked. I mean, you may have sent
Yeah.
them like, paper plans, but you've never experienced the space. And they've only got like literally 6 weeks to knock this whole thing out. So that's what I love about it is it's like seeing the design process happen before you because they're like, how do we make this us, but also something so sellable? Because that's the thing, right? We can
Yeah.
all make a house that's like sellable, but how do you make it like classy, but then also have some design surprises and like make it so that it's so beautiful that you're like, I don't care like whether or not it's got an extra closet or not. Like I want this because of the beauty. So there's so many categories that make a house appealing, and I love that this show sort of really focuses on all of those.
Mm. And for you, just how nice is it being on a show where you're the host? You're not on the nitty gritty having to do
Oh my
everything
god,
yourself. You get to kind of
yeah.
sit back and watch.
Oh my god, I'm like, hallelujah, I have made it. Like I'm finally the guy who doesn't have to be like sweating and literally like can barely stand on a ladder anymore. Like being the host is awesome, but I'm also super competitive. So I'm also thinking like, what would I be doing? You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
but I'm also there to sort of I know that sometimes people need to sort of ask themselves, am I making the right choice? Am I going the right direction? And I love to sort of who would have guessed I'd be the voice of reason? That I'm like, no, stick with what you're doing. Like, don't change directions now. Because I think like sometimes we second guess ourselves, especially when the whole world's going to be watching.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of pressure that I can see people under. And I love that I've got enough experience that I can be like, no, man, you guys, stay the course. You're on the right track.
Has you ever been on the flip side where you wished you could be like, oh, don't do that, don't do that? Like where you really have biting your tongue?
I will definitely be like, I mean, I've literally said, I don't know what season it was, but I was like, look, pink is a beautiful color. I agree. But let me just say this. There's only been one car that's ever been sold really well that's pink, and that's a Cadillac. And there's a reason, because like it just doesn't work in every environment.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I love people that are bold enough to be like, I think it's beautiful. So that's the thing, is you've got artists, you've got designers, you've got builders, and everybody comes from a different background, and you get that on the show for sure.
And it's tough because obviously different people like different things.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
who's to say
yeah,
what is going to be the
yeah.
home run?
It's going to be an interesting cul-de-sac, whoever moves in, that's for sure.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you guys did film this all in Colorado. Just what was it like being out there? How did you spend your downtime when you weren't filming?
Oh my God. Look, we happened to be there at the most perfect time. Like, I think we started at the end of September. So we got to experience October. And so the leaves are changing. But you still have these wonderfully like nice mild days. But then toward the end of it, all of a sudden these cold fronts would come in. You're like, oh my God, winter's coming. But it was absolutely like majestic. It was just, you could not pick a better time, a better place. It was like elk mating season, so like wildlife is everywhere, and like it was that's what I mean. It's just epic, it's epic.
And for someone who has been in this TV home reno space for 20 plus years now, what's, I guess, surprised you the most about how it's evolved over time?
I think for me, because I have been doing it for so long, and not only like working on really cheap budgets, but I think it's realizing that, because somebody just asked me a question in a previous interview, like what is it like knowing that you kind of started this entire craze? I'm like, wow, I didn't think about that. But like in many ways, Trading Spaces was the first show that put tools in the hands of homeowners. And so that turned us all into DIYers. But I think for me, I love to see how it's evolved. We're at the point now where we see so many images coming across our screens that I think people are more able to look at taking risks in design now, because they've seen so many. It's like the way we are with food.
Yeah.
We used to only eat iceberg lettuce, and now we're like, oh, I'll have arugula. I have a little, it's like, and it's just like with design. We're like, no, I've seen this. This does work. Like I would take this risk. And so I'm really happy to be at that point, but that's also why I want to be dazzled visually. Like I'm like, I know what is out there. I know what we're capable of. So don't just give me a white room. Like I want to see some real good design. But yeah, I think for me it's that we're all evolving, and like right now I'm taking on these historic projects in Savannah, and like a lot of people used to think that I was more of a modern mid-century guy. And I'm whatever the project is. Like I love diving into old stuff. I collect so much vintage things. And so yeah, I think it's the exploration of like, that's what's great about design. It's like, what could this be? Can we return it to its glory? But more importantly, what can we create out of nothing? And like that's what's so great about design shows, because you're basically like looking at the same space somebody else is looking at. And same with Battle on the Beach. I love that challenge, because we all basically have these horrible shacks on the ocean, but we have to turn them into like, the Taj Mahal with, no budget like Rock the Block.
Yeah.
But I love those challenges. Is like, how do you make something incredible out of nothing? And that mentality is the same too, because yes, on Rock the Block, you have a bigger budget, but you still have to complete it. And it has to look so good, because these are going on the market. Like these, like there's nobody
no
coming
corners
to like fix anything, So yeah, it's the stakes are high, but I love that I'm still doing it, to be honest with you, because like you're only as good as your last project, and I know I love it because you learn from every experience, and just being an observer of all the design choices on this, you soak that in, and you're like, wow, I would definitely use that idea somewhere else.
And I need to quickly bring up that the J. Crew photo you recreated recently on your
Oh
Instagram.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
ever wonder how different your trajectory would have been, had that
Oh,
accident unfortunately
yeah,
derailed
yeah, yeah.
that?
No, I think it's really funny. Like, I love that we say trajectory too, because that's what it was. Like, I flew out of that Jeep and like rode on my back. But
Oh,
I
oh,
can't believe I've never shared that story with like, social media, because it is such a good one. Because look, everyone knows the a career in male modeling is absolute, you're going to make millions. And like, I was like making maybe $100 a day if I ever worked, an hour a day. But I just find it interesting that like I'd finally made it with the J. Crew cover. Like the phone was about to go off the hook, but
yeah.
the universe literally wiped me away from that future. And I had no idea at the time, but it made me go back to just doing construction. And I would have never gone on the audition for Trading Spaces if I had not been going back to construction, because my agency wouldn't even call me anymore. They go, look, I
Oh,
know you don't, but they said, they're like, listen, we've got to, I think this is, they're looking for someone exactly like you. And I go, all right, let me hear it. But yeah, like it's funny. But my brother leaving my only portfolio in his car and somebody using it to like clean themselves, like that's perfect. Like that's my legacy. But I look, I've always gone through whatever door of opportunity opens, because you never know what that experience is going to lead to, and like you're going to fall
yeah.
back on it. And like modeling, I I don't even like I walked into some agency one day and the guy said, "You should come to Japan." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "To make money." I said, "When do we leave?" And but because of that, I became comfortable in front of the camera. And so like
Mm.
I was not good at it, but it made me comfortable. And so
Yeah.
and to this day, I still think people hire me to make other people comfortable on camera. Swear to God. Like that's
Hmm.
my gift. That's my gift. So
It's a good one
but
to
yeah,
have.
yeah, you never know. But yeah, it's funny how there's a path that sometimes we don't even know is being laid out for us.
Yeah, I think this worked out for you.
Yeah, me
And there's
too.
obviously, I think, a lot more longevity in this career than for male models.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah,
and quickly, I just wanted to lastly ask you about your home renovation in Savannah, because you mentioned you're
yeah,
doing a bunch of just historic ones now. What was the
yeah.
most challenging aspect of it? And are you completed? I saw you're working on like a carriage house now. I
I don't
saw
think we'll
like
ever be completed. Yeah, we could
I
we completed we completed um we have completed for the time being the place we did next door so we can get it rented, which is
got it.
great. And but there's one like the carriage house we're still working on right now, and we're gonna do the bathroom down there. That's probably gonna finish pretty soon, like probably in a month it'll be done, which is great because we got friends coming to visit. But we've got another project we want to do, like in the garage above and the
There's
garage
always
above.
projects.
Yeah. So, but I love it because like it's really, I don't know if you've ever been to Savannah, but it's such a charming
Yeah,
little town, and like
gorgeous.
you just want to stay authentic to that, and they want you to too. Like
Yeah.
the historic society is for real, but I love it that you can sort of experience the era that But we also have a little bit of a Mediterranean vibe we're bringing in too. But it's nice because everything's so small and quaint, and um, it just happens to be like totally different than some of the mid-century moderns I've done before. So
Yeah.
I love it. And like you just never know what the next thing is. But we've decided we're going to slow it down after this. We've done
Yeah.
enough.
It's
You
a
know.
lot. But it looks great. So congrats on
Well,
that.
thanks. Thank you.
And yeah, again, thank you so much for your time and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You
Have a good
too.
one.